Okay, so this video is a bit of a fun video, but it's also a reveal all. It's a bit of a vulnerable video for me, but I'm going to be talking about why I don't go for on camera casting so much anymore, or if I can avoid it, I will. Okay, so this is not to diss people doing the whole rat race of going for especially commercial castings, some TV, film. Uh, it's a lot of, for me, it's a lot of auditioning, it's a lot of time, and I don't really at this point in my life, want to give that time. And it's also, I feel a little bit of it is like I feel myself having to prostitute myself in some ways, like do this, do that, and then the thing with castings is there's no promise of a job, right? And also, there's a lot of rejection. So kudos to the people who are out there running that rat race, keeping positive, actually booking jobs, dealing with rejection well, having the time and patience to do it. Okay, so it all started a long time ago. I've done this race before. I mean, I was even a kid model, and I've been in some magazines, did TVCs and everything. So that was all very fun when I was doing it. Really, it was. At this point in my life, though, I have sort of taken a back seat in a sense that I am now doing more voiceovers and I'm teaching, and also my hair is also thinning. So actually since I was 20, my hair has been always quite thin and flat and limp, right? So it's got not much life. And so it's always a bit of an issue when I go into a production, whether it's stage or whether it's TV, especially TV, because the close up TV and film, where I meet the hair person and they're like, oh, okay, what do we do with your hair? Especially if I have to have spiky hair, it's very difficult for them to make it spiky and for it to not look sparse, right? So the thing is, I like to do it myself. But when you do your hair and you come in, they're going to be like, why did you do your hair first? Let us style it. And rightfully so, right? They should have the say, they should have the way to style it, and they should have last say. So it's kind of awkward for me because I want to ask, like, okay, what hair do you want? I can do it for you before I come in, and then, then I know how to do it. Because it's a very delicate balance. You don't know whether the person you're going to get is going to be good with hair, like good to the point that he can cover up, thin hair, or whether you're going to get someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and then you're kind of screwed because you go on, and then if they don't do your hair properly, you're going to look really bad on TV, right? So it's a lot of anxiety for me. um, so anyhow, so that's why I don't want to go into these things so much anymore, because unless it's for TV or for theater. Theater, there's a hair guy called Ashley. He's amazing. He understands my hair. Sometimes he even gives me a wig. TV is also more long form, it's more long running. So you develop a relationship and you can talk about these things, right? They can also give you a wig, right? If it's a really good TV series with a budget. Um, Anyhows, so I want to talk also about this particular audition that I went to recently that put me through all this trauma all over again. Not their fault, because it's all me, right? It's all the stuff that I'm carrying. And so I got a call firstly from a girl who's part of an agency who casts for commercials, and I was actually recommended because I did this project where I was doing facial motion capture, and I did pretty well, and so that's why I was recommended. So I get the call and she says, please come in for an audition, and already I'm like, oh, audition, like, which is okay because I'm referred, right? So not so bad. And then she says, okay, anytime from 11 to 5. And so I say, okay, how about 4? And she's like, oh, no, actually, that's booked. And then I was like, how about 3? And she's like, oh, that's kind of booked too. And then I went, okay, well, then 11. By this time, I'm trying to adjust my schedule around to make this work. And she goes, oh, 11's booked. Actually, she's like, why don't you come in at 2? And I was like, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, you have so many people coming in from 11 to 6 or 5, right? And I'm just thinking, why do I even want to be up for this? Because usually when I get submitted, I'm at the point where I'm sort of like narrowed down to it's sort of narrowed down to a couple of people before I get submitted, whether it's for voiceovers, whether it's for like a theater gig, or sometimes even a straight up offer. So this reminds me of the game again. I mean, not to set myself apart from everybody else in the sense that I'm better, but it's just where I'm at, right? When you're at a certain place, you just know what works best for you in terms of your timing and in terms of your worth. So it's not worth my effort, I'm thinking. But then she said 2 was okay, and I was okay. So I was like, all right, here goes, luckily. Or maybe unluckily. So I turn up at this audition, and um, they asked me, okay, so before we start, you need to register your profile. And I said, oh, well, do I really have to? Because this registration is for future castings, which they usually just do on camera castings, right? And not so much facial motion capture. So I was already said, like, I already said, like, I really don't think should I really fill up this profile? I really don't intend to be on camera, for the reason that because my hair is thin, right? And then they went, well, just fill out the profile anyway because it's protocol. So by this time, I'm a bit grumpy. I didn't show it, so I start to fill out the profile, and then it gets to the point where I have to measure myself, which to me is completely ridiculous because I'm not going to go for a casting. So I go through the trouble and the time of getting measured all over. And then after that, I have to key in, all my kind of stuff like birthday, my age, which is all fine. I guess the age is another thing, right? So I look young, and I want to be cast for how I look, not for how old I am on paper. Sometimes they I don't know, sometimes they look at the paper and they go, oh, you're too old. And then they don't cast you for the young stuff. And then when they go, oh, we need to cast you for an old guy stuff, like an executive or a boss or a father, and then they look at your age, and then when you come in, it's like you don't look it. Anyway, casting is weird. So I then fill up more questions about, like, oh, are you comfortable being in the nude? Are you comfortable in swimwear? To me, which is all not relevant because I'm not going to be on camera anyway. But I'm filling up this form, feeling a bit ridiculous. And then it gets to a point where I get to my CV section, and it's completely empty. And they're like, fill up your, CV. And I'm like, what? I'm not going to sit here and fill up 20 years of what I've done, because it's going to take forever, right? Not because I have a lot of stuff and I'm trying to show off, but it's because it's going to take forever and I can't remember. So I put my CV, a link to my CV on the little website there, and I feel bad, but I'm just like, this is just an audition. Why am I doing so much, right? There's really no point. So then after I'm done with all that, I'm ready to audition. But the girl says, no, you have to do a video of yourself, a profile, an introduction of yourself, and then you have to do the, face front, and then face 45 degrees, face 90 degrees, face the back and turn around, and all that kind of stuff, which to me, again, is like, I'm not going to be on camera. Why am I being, filmed with my angles and everything? And the worst part is, she said, you have to do it without your cap on. So I'm like, no, I didn't know I had to do this. So I'm not ready. My hair is like, and I wouldn't have come in the first place. So I said, no, I didn't know I have to do this. So I'm not going to take my cap off. And she actually asks me, she's like, oh, please, because we don't really do it with a cap on. And I'm just like, really, at this point, like, you really trying to force me to take my cap off? Seriously? Not so happy, right? So I do it with my cap on, and then I feel bad for her too, right? She's just doing her job, but like, honestly. And then I finished, and I kind of 6:30 it because I really don't care. So finally I get to the audition proper. And then there's a girl's voice. There's just 2 pieces of audio that are girl voices, which I am facial motion capturing to. And I think they should have told the people coming in that it's going to be a girl's voice, because not all guys might be comfortable with, because there's a certain physicality to it, right? The girl was talking in a certain way, so if that was the actual job, I mean, I don't know. I think they should just be more open about it because it's confusing. And then I do it. I mean, I do it while I'm very comfortable with, the previous job I did, which I booked, was for 2 girls and 2 guys. So I voiced, for facial motion capture for 2 girls and 2 guys. And then the whole thing is over. The whole thing is over, and I go home, and I get a call, like, a text about a week later saying, oh, you didn't get it. So I'm like, okay, fair enough, I didn't get it. Someone who's good got it. But of course I'm not so happy because I wasted so much time on this. And you know what? I don't know. What do you think? I don't think ever again for me. So for me, it has to be something that I really want to do, right? That is like narrowed down already, and that I'm talking through the proper people, not going through the the channels of people who don't know who I am, not familiar with my work, and just asking things of me that I just cannot give or don't want to give, right? And not understanding it. So that's my 2 cents worth. I hope this was an interesting chat. I hope I don't come across as too diva or anything. I mean, it's really just my own demons, and I just can't do commercial castings anymore.